She was beautiful, sharp, and had a weakness for alcohol. She spoke bluntly. Many who didn't dance to her tune felt the sting of her words. She loved Frank Sinatra the most, but she lived without him. In fact, without any man because, as she put it, she wasn't made to ride off into the sunset with a newlywed husband and live happily ever after. Ava Gardner's romantic conquests began with her marriage to MGM star Mickey Rooney. It was a quick bang-bang. A warm-up, she recalled years later. Rooney had many women by his side, but Ava Gardner was by far the most beautiful of them all. "If I had seen you first, sweetheart, I would have married you myself," Frank Sinatra supposedly said upon seeing her with her newlywed husband. It was 1942. She was not yet 20 and had no idea that she would one day be recognized as one of the 25 most important actresses of classic Hollywood. So let's explore the story of Ava Gardner's scandalous life. Before we start, please support my channel by clicking like and subscribe buttons. She arrived in the Dream Factory from Grabtown, North Carolina. She was born the youngest of 7 siblings. She thought she was unnecessary. Poor mom already had a complete family, 4 daughters and 2 sons, and then suddenly, in the middle of her life, on Christmas Eve 1922, I was born. My parents must have thought they were done with diapers. And then, this kind of Christmas present, she used to say. Ava's family was far from wealthy. Her parents were poor farmers, growing cotton and tobacco. Despite their endless financial worries, they surrounded their youngest daughter with love. They spoiled her, especially her father, who made her feel safe. For the rest of her life, she remembered the taste of the lemonade he used to make for her. Ava was a tomboy dressed in hand-me-down dresses from her older sisters. She could climb any tree, even higher branches than the boys. Her knees were always scraped and bleeding. During a visit to her older sister Beatrice in New York, she was photographed by her brother-in-law, Larry Tarr. A talent scout from MGM's New York office was captivated by the girl in the pictures and offered Ava a contract. In 1941, Gardner left school and moved to Hollywood. As she admitted, the 4-day journey from New York to California was probably the most exciting trip of her life. Beatrice accompanied her. Once there, it became clear that fame and real film roles would take some time to achieve. Her MGM contract provided very little pay, many clauses allowing MGM to terminate it, and of course, no financial security if she failed to land roles. It protected the studio, not the actress. Additional clauses focused on morality and maintaining proper respect for the principles of social conduct. "I had no intention of screwing Clark Gable in the middle of Hollywood Boulevard while singing God Bless America," Ava remarked. She wondered how she could survive on a starvation wage while still looking glamorous. Like all other new MGM recruits, her first days were spent being photographed with established screen stars. It was a ritual that allowed sufficiently pretty faces to appear in local newspapers. Since Mickey Rooney was one of MGM's biggest stars at the time, Ava was photographed with him. Their pictures appeared in newspapers around the world. "I don't think I uttered a single word." She tried to recall that first meeting, during which shyness paralyzed her. "I just wanted to disappear into the ground," she added. Today, those words seem unbelievable. Ava Gardner never seemed shy. Rooney quickly proposed to Ava. Their wedding took place on January 10, 1942 in California. That night, it turned out that Mickey was a tender lover. However, Ava's stories usually ended there. "There's nothing to remember," she would say. The actor loved her, but he also adored other women and didn't think twice when one appeared on the horizon. He liked to relieve himself as much as possible, she said. Despite her very young age, Ava quickly realized that Hollywood was one big game. It wasn't a place of sincerity, but rather of deals and pretense. Ava had to learn to play golf to keep up with her husband, who spent a lot of time aiming for the next hole. They also liked tennis and attended numerous alcohol-fueled parties. Life alongside a star like Rooney had its challenges, and she had to face them. At first, she didn't understand what someone meant when they directed the French words "faut pas" at her. However, she quickly mastered the art of navigating high society. Since she was too young to drink alcohol in public places, Mickey smuggled martinis for her in a coffee cup. She loved it. And although they could have great fun, Ava was humiliated by his marital infidelities. Like any girl, she wanted to be desired and adored. She began making increasingly sharp remarks toward her husband, mocking his short stature. She would scream that she would kill him if he got her pregnant. In any case, she never had children. She terminated both pregnancies she conceived. In moments of greatest anger, she could bring her husband to tears. She was insanely jealous. When he was drunk, he would rate his mistresses in front of his friends and his wife. Gardner threw Rooney out after finding out he was seeing a 15-year-old girl. A few days later, she took him back. She knew that without him, she was nobody in Hollywood. However, in the end, anger prevailed, and exactly 1 year and 5 days after their wedding, the couple filed for divorce. Gardner's marriage to Artie Shaw was just an episode in her life, though an important one, as it ended with her heartbroken. She was his fifth wife. Among his previous spouses was her idol, Lana Turner. Although Gardner was madly in love with Shaw, whom she married in 1945, she couldn't bear the humiliations he constantly subjected her to. He even criticized the way she sat. "You're not on a tobacco plantation," he would yell when she tucked her leg under herself. He played mind games with her, criticized and belittled her. However, he was the one who sparked ambitions in the young actress that she had previously lacked. She started studying, supported financially by him, and didn't have to act much. She was happy. She never felt comfortable on set. She never liked working in film. During this time, she also started drinking stronger alcohol than the cocktails she used to consume in Rooney's company. Gardner's marriage to Shaw ended after a few months. However, her professional life was about to take a major turn. And all because she broke the rules of Hollywood. This time, it worked out in her favor. In 1945, she played her first leading role in the film Whistle Stop, which included a kissing scene with George Raff's character. She was nervous and still lacked acting experience. She either forgot or chose to ignore the studio code that prohibited open-mouthed kisses. The censors seemingly overlooked it, and the film somehow made it through, leaving audiences in awe. Even John Huston admitted that it was this kiss that secured Ava the role in The Killers, the film that became her breakthrough. She played the femme fatale, Kitty Collins. More roles followed effortlessly, including in films such as Showboat, The Snows of Kilimanjaro, Mogambo, and The Barefoot Contessa. In 1964, she starred in one of her most highly regarded films, The Night of the Iguana, for which she won a Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Drama. She was also considered for the iconic role of Mrs. Robinson in The Graduate, but ultimately Anne Bancroft, a few years younger than Gardner, was cast instead. Another one of her most acclaimed performances was as Empress Elizabeth in Mayerling. Her last cinematic appearance was in Regina Roma, 1982. Once she became a celebrated film star, she didn't mind the attention of photographers. During her time, even the most relentless paparazzi sought out flattering images, photos in which actresses looked beautiful. Any unflattering shots were immediately discarded. No one was chasing cheap scandal. It was a stark contrast to the final years of Ava's life, when she struggled with financial problems and, after suffering 2 strokes, was left with partial facial paralysis. By then, the media wasn't after her beauty, but rather her misfortune. "I was so beautiful," she would often say, looking at her old photographs. By the time she became a major MGM star, she had entangled herself in an affair with Frank Sinatra. The teenage heartthrob was no longer filling concert halls. When Ava attended one of his performances, the spotlights turned in her direction, drawing the audience's attention to her instead. Frank could never forgive her for that. Their heated argument in a hotel room became a widely discussed event. Before they could call their relationship love, they had met several times in different circumstances. He would flirt with her even on the streets of Hollywood, overtaking her car, then slowing down to let her pass, only to speed up again. The couple survived Sinatra's difficult divorce and eventually married in 1951. 2 stars, both heavy drinkers and known for their sharp tongues, were a goldmine for gossip seekers. Even news of her abortion was not kept secret. Ava's status in the film industry at that time was so strong that she was able to help her husband get back on top. Thanks to her, Sinatra landed a role in From Here to Eternity, which won him an Oscar. He never stepped down from the podium again, building an immense fortune over the following years. Enough to not only secure a comfortable life for himself and his family, but also to take care of Ava, whose health deteriorated significantly in the 1980s. He covered her hospital bills, paid for her treatments, and even built her a tennis court. Though their marriage ended quickly, they remained close until the end of their lives. A spark of love still lingered between them, untouched by years of separation. Perhaps Ava was never meant for marriage. After divorcing Sinatra, Gardner moved to London. She never remarried, though she had high-profile relationships, including with Ernest Hemingway and the bullfighter Luis Miguel Dominguez. After she swam naked in Hemingway's pool, the writer reportedly demanded that the water never be changed again. "This was the last thing I ever expected," Gardner said with sorrow about her strokes in 1986. "I was so happy. I was getting new job offers. Producers liked hiring me because my name still looked good on posters," she added. She never fully regained control of half of her body. Years of heavy drinking and excessive smoking led to chronic lung disease. She suffered. "They told me I needed surgery, but there was no guarantee it would help," Ava wrote in her diary. Her suffering was finally cut short. "I'm so tired," were reportedly her last words, whispered to her housekeeper. She had been lying helplessly on the floor of her London apartment for hours. She died of pneumonia on January 25, 1990. Her body was transported back to her hometown in North Carolina, from where, half a century earlier, she had set off on her grand adventure with film and with men. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Please do not forget to support my channel by clicking like and subscribe buttons.